So yeah, we're just telling you what we're going to tell you. So I always find things like that odd. And there it is again. So I actually wondered about the naming of this thing, and it turns out that it's Healing Wearables. So it's dedicated to creating the world's most advanced, convenient, powerful, portable healing therapy for devices for your family and pets. Now, this is interesting. So people do use this with their pets. I would think that it would take a little more work to put TENS pads on a pet, but it certainly could be done. They might have to be taped down or bandaged down, and the contact might not be as good. But certainly there are ways, and searching through the Facebook group, there are all kinds of suggestions there on how to do such things. Now, this page, I look at this and I don't know about you, but I look at rated current and 5 different power levels. I go, 5 different power levels, that I understand. It has a 24-hour battery life. Yep, I got that. 1 UHZ microhertz frequency resolution means nothing to me. It doesn't, this is not the kind of thing that penetrates and makes a difference to me. Over 30,000 free programs, yep, makes absolute sense. 0.000001 to 2 megahertz frequency range, that's nice. Again, it's not penetrating. It doesn't make a difference to me. This is not a reason why I made my purchase. Just isn't. That it has 4 modes: the blood purifier, the zapper, the high power mode, and the low power mode. Great. These are things that are useful. The zapper I had used in the past, not in this device, but separately, and I did find it to be powerful. Actually, I didn't know what I was doing with it, and the way I used it was a little bit scary for me. But the way this device works in having it cycle is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It was something that the original device that I bought didn't have, and I ran it too long and didn't drink enough water. These are my skills, right? Not following specific ideas. But I didn't know to drink the water, and I didn't know to cycle it or to not run it indefinitely. So you live, you learn, right? So yeah, these 4 unique modes. So once again, I'm up at the top here, frequency therapy device that consists of 4 modes. Okay, we already went through that. 3.9 hertz biphasic AC frequency. Sorry, means nothing. To me, this doesn't translate to information that's useful to me. What is useful to me is that the blood purifier here, recommended treatment time is 2 hours per day, right? Just 2 hours per day, 21 to 30 days. And you use the high power cable, the silver cable. Now, I have to say, I had some confusion in my mind about the high power and low power cable. And what's really crazy is that confusion wasn't alleviated by my actual looking at the cable. My inherent sense of what was high and what was low told me that the gold cable would be the high power. That's completely wrong. And what was interesting to me is I finally noticed that on the cable itself, you probably cannot see this, but on the clip, right, where you plug it in, right, it's written on here, high power. Did I read that in advance? No, but now you know high power is this silver cable. So it's telling you how to use it here. So you start with the lowest power setting, you start low. That's one LED is lit, that's equaling 10 volts, and gradually increase the power until 3 LEDs are lit. So, okay, 3 LEDs equal 30 volts. Okay, if you find the power is too high, you can always bring it back down. How will you know if it's too high? It's gonna feel stingy on your skin, right? You shouldn't have that kind of experience. If it hurts, you just running it too high. Not gonna, do any kind of damage if it's being reduced to where it's not so powerful that it's stinging you. Shouldn't sting you. The green indicator light will blink. This is a note here. You do not load programs to use the blood purifier. All you have to do is press the button, and we'll go through that a little bit. And it's just going to run. It runs automatically, and it's going to last 2 hours. It's just going to do it. Make this thing go next. There we go. So this is telling you how to place the TENS pads. So, I got TENS pads here. I could put them here and here, or here and here, right? It doesn't matter. It's what works for you, right? It's really addressing where you have a pulse. The idea is that your blood's running through this, right? And it's being hit by these frequencies, and apparently cleanses the blood. Seems like a great idea. How do you know if it works? I don't have a proper answer to that question. I suppose it's how you feel, right? I suppose that really is the basic. For me, everything's about experience. If I do something and I have an experience, it's real, it works. I cannot transfer that experience to anybody else. They have to have their own. So that's my take on it. Using it, you have your experience, or you don't, and you come away and you make your own decisions. Did you do it long enough? Did you put the pads in the right place? Maybe your blood's clean already. I don't know, but there are other ways to test because, as they say, there are 4 modes. So then we move on to the Zapper. Now, this is what I was talking about. Again, the kilohertz means nothing for me. Some of you are all about that kind of information. You have more information than I do about the electronics and the scientific idea of it. I'm going again for experience. So the Zapper is preset. You don't have to load anything. You just put it on. It's going to run for 7 minutes on and pause for 21 minutes. And that will cycle 3 times. So it's 7 on, 21 off, 7 on, 21 off, 7 on. That's it. It's going to run for 63 minutes and stop, right? You're going to use, again, the high power cable. That's the silver cable. You're going to use, you're going to use the lowest power setting. This is really specific. It's not telling you to build up, right? It's telling you use the low power. So directions like that, I follow, right? By the way, I did not design this PowerPoint, but what I did is I took it and modified it to help me make sense of it. And that was very specific to me. So where do you put the TENS pads for the Zapper? You put it across a problem area that you're having, right? Or you put it on opposing wrists, right? The original Zapper that I had was a small box. It was just this little box, and it had 2 contact points on it, and you just put those right on an area, It was powerful, I can say that. This gives you that opportunity because your pads can move to opposing areas. That's pretty handy. So if you have something going on, you can really get to it in a more specific way than I was able to. So the low power cable, this is the gold one. Microcurrent treatments are safe for treatments above the shoulders. Now this is interesting because most treatments, I don't know if you use spooky equipment, which I do, you do not work above the collarbone. You just don't. With this device, you can. So it's notable that people talk about using this for different things that, you know, are on the neck, the head. I think that's fascinating. I have personally not done that yet, but I have to preface this all with, I don't have any ailments. I mean, I don't have things that I'm dealing with in that way. So I don't really have a way to test it on myself. And eventually, I suppose I will have something and I will be absolutely willing to check that out. I have no reason not to. It says using the low power mode requires the user to select programs. We're going to get into that. Selecting programs is very simple. And I will bring that up and show you. Very simple. After the programs are selected, you press the low power button and those programs will transfer to the MicroGen memory. So you're going to see them on the screen, on the computer screen. And then when you press the button, they're going to transfer into the device itself, right? They're going to transfer into it. This is kind of an interesting use of the power of your computer in relationship to a device like this, and really to any of the spooky equipment as well. It's using your computer in a way that would, in the past, have been built into these items at much greater cost and much more complicated. So that's a very interesting way to make use of this. Once the programs have completed, the MicroGen is either going to loop back to the beginning or power off. And this is going to depend on the loop mode selection. And I will go over that. This symbol is run and stop. This is run continuously. You can kind of see the little loop idea there, right? Run and stop or run continuously. So this is pointing those things out. There are programs in the database. And you can search for them directly. There are programs that are specific to the MicroGen, right? So actually, why don't I do a little switch here? Excuse me one moment. I'm going to do a new share. Well, not doing what I want it to do, of course. I have to bring up something else on my screen. Excuse me a moment. I think you should all be able to see this screen. I'm actually running something else there, forgive me. But I do have the MicroGen up, or I did. Well, now I'm making a mess of things. This is what happens when I come slightly unprepared because of our timing. I do apologize, but I have no other way to get to the information I want now. So please bear with me. Why did I not have it up and running already? That's annoying. All right, I'm going to close out of this. I'll see if I can find it while I talk here. I'm gonna do a little double duty on this. I know that's annoying to you as attendees, but I don't want to make excuses about it. I just want to present this stuff to you. So let's get back to this for a moment. So it has programs. You can search for these programs. Searching FSM in the search box is going to give you all of the treatments that are microcurrents. They were designed specifically for the MicroGen, right? So that's pretty handy. You just type that in. And if you notice, everything here is like got an asterisk by it. And that's an indicator. This is this button. These buttons blown up here, that's this button here. You click it to go back and forth between the run and stop mode or the run continuously mode. Right now, it's in run continuously. So anything I set up and then click one of these things would run in that mode, right? So let me move on. I do promise I will find my up and running version of the MicroGen software and give you a little demonstration. So high power is often used in lifestyle treatments. These are the same treatments that are applied in the spooky equipment. High powered cable can address thousands of health problems caused by viruses, bacteria, fungi, and parasites. Other conditions can also be resolved through organ-specific and detoxification frequencies. These are big statements, right? These are big statements. And the only way they can be verified is not through somebody like me or anybody else telling you, but rather through you having your own experience. As you can see, I'm a big proponent of getting in and finding out what works. Finding out what works. It's the only way. No matter what anybody says, you should be, at the very least, skeptical. You know, be cynical about it. I advise that. I encourage that. You should be. I was. My mother was. And I got that kind of idea from her. I check everything out. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, I move on. And I've tried many, many things that I found ultimately did not work. There's a lot of information about earthing out there. I found it to be a waste of my time. It just wasn't for me. But that doesn't mean it doesn't work for other people. Other people have different experiences than I do. And they should. So, finding out where to place your TENS pads. Well, you want to put them, if you have some, if there's pain, right, you want to put them across the painful region. Or it's also telling you here, you want to try and leave 5 centimeters. I looked that up, says just under 2 inches between the electrodes. If I'm wrong about that, somebody will correct me. So if you have spinal pain, you would want it on either side of your spine. Leg pain, either side of your lower back. I found that interesting. Arm pain on the hand, which has pain in it. So, you know, these are suggestions, but it's also telling you, never place the pads on your eyes. Remember, this is the high power cable, or over your heart. You want to, you only want to place things above the shoulders with a low power cable. You want to avoid hairy areas. Well, this is a little difficult for me. My chest is hairy. My arms are hairy. Where am I supposed to put these things? On the other hand, these pads stick pretty well. They might not last as long if you have hairier areas, but I found this product online. It's called TENS Extends, right? It costs like $9 and you can extend the life of your pads using it, or just buy other pads. They're pretty inexpensive. Never place a pad directly over a joint. This is important and you should keep it in mind. So you want it off your elbows, knees, and ankles. Pad should never be used when wet and must be set aside to dry before you begin using your TENS unit. That's interesting. This isn't a TENS unit, this is a MicroGen. I didn't notice that misprint in here, but it's still a fact. Never use a pad that has become damaged or old. Pads should be very sticky. So replace them or use that stuff and make sure that they're sticky and hanging in place throughout your treatment. I've had them come off and had to start again. I found that fairly annoying. You know, these things happen, but it's not the worst possible thing. So the hardware operation. These things are important. The MicroGen will always charge when connected to a USB port. Mine is charging right now. Why is it I cannot see my image at the moment? Stuff is always like that. There I am. It's helpful to have my image showing where I can see it, so I know that I'm showing it. Mine is plugged in right now and it's charging, in spite of the fact that you see that there are no blinking lights. If I turn it on, right? So it's on. Either way, it's charging, right? So it does not need to be turned on. If the MicroGen is turned on, the LEDs on the front will flash and indicate this charging status. This one is completely charged, right? They're just up and running. Turning it on, pressing the power button for 2 seconds until the LED is turned on. That's what I just now did. It must be turned on before programming or creating a test report. That's pretty important. Choosing a power level. After turning it on, double clicking to choose the power level. This is fairly straightforward. I don't know if you can see it clearly. Try to keep the light off of this. Hopefully you can see this. If I just click it once, and I can't tell if you can see what this is doing right now. The first LED is blinking. This does not display on my screen in a way that I can tell if you can see it. I'm trying to make it bigger on my screen. Yeah, it's hard to see. Anyway, if I click it once, one is blinking. I click it again, a second one is blinking. Sorry, I don't think you can see these. I click it a third time, 3 are blinking, but that's the idea. It does work. And once you stop clicking it, it's going to show once again the power level. This one is all the way charged, so it's showing 5 lights, right? And I could plug it in and run it on myself. And whatever I've programmed it with is going to be run on me, right? Right, so that's that. Well, I showed you the power button, charging port. That's the charging port right there, right? And the TENS cable port right there, very easy to find. It's all under this cover. I had a little trouble pulling that out, but once I had it out, it was not a big deal. It's got a little carry thing on it. I often just stick this thing in my pocket, you know, and run the, if I'm running around and I'm doing stuff, I usually run the lines up inside my shirt and put the pads wherever I want it. That's pretty simple. And there is a reset button if things are not going the way you expect. At least that's what it says. Yeah, it's right here. It's pretty tiny. It's just next to the cover, but it's down there, and you could stick a paper clip or something down there. And oh, I see we have people asking questions now. I will answer these questions, I promise. So yeah, that's, you know, that's very basic software operation. Yeah, this is all, this looks like a little convoluted to me. You can get the software as a download and explore this. It's telling you where you can search. This showing the asterisks as meaning preferred for the MicroGen, not necessarily preferred for your treatment. The treatment you choose is what those are your preferences. This is showing you frequency duration. So 180, each frequency at 180 is running for 3 minutes, right? And this will show you the runtime. These are the different things to use. The blood purifier and the zapper don't require any programs to be loaded in this. The low power cable does, the high power cable does, right? I will do a demonstration, I promise. Are you, yeah. Yeah, I talked about this, how you choose the different frequencies, right? So this is the continuous loop, and this is what you're choosing by using this one, is that it's going to run until you turn it off, right? It's just going to keep running. This will run the program you selected once, just once, right? Here's our demo. Oh, this is a demo of the cables. And I'm going to go ahead and let this run. You should be able to hear it, except I can't hear it, which leaves me in some doubt here. I'm not hearing it. I don't know why that is. I can give you the link for this. It's on YouTube. Oh, I love it when things like this happen. Okay, let me go over here. Before I do a demonstration, I'm going to answer some of these questions. Thought the same thing about the high and low cables. Yeah, we both went through it. Did it with high and low. Yeah, we went through that. I feel energy is available and I'm so happy. Jacqueline, I'm so glad. Using the blood purifier for 3 weeks, the palmar surfaces of my hands have gotten brighter. The palms of your hands have gotten brighter. That's interesting. TMJ problems, earaches, vertigo. I would think possibly, but I would be careful and look for people with real experience on those. And that sounds like you want to use the low power cables. Can you explain how to decrease running time? I will try. Let's see. Are we going to have a recording of this webinar? It is being recorded and it should be available to you. Does it take longer to charge when not on? No, it does not. Somebody else answered that? Oh, you answered yourself. Does 800 charge times differ if charged on or off? As far as I know, no. As far as I know, I don't have a. Yeah, you know, Dr. Danielle, the thing is I did click on audio sounds before starting sharing. That's what surprised me, is that they're not playing for some reason. I'm sorry about that. Again, we can find that on YouTube, and I will make sure that I pass that link to you. Was trying to put on blood purifier and had to go to low power in one level, but the light turns red and blinks red and green, and it actually zaps. You have an experience there that I don't. Interesting though, interesting. Okay, so if you'll bear with me for just a second, I'm going to go into my system and see if I can find out why my MicroGen has become elusive to me. Somebody has, wow, that's great. Both are running. Just bear with me for one moment, please. Yeah, I see my MicroGen decided to take a break. I might have had a power shutdown on that. What I'm doing is I actually run different pieces of equipment on different computers. And so my spooky equipment and the MicroGen equipment are on a different computer than I'm using to do this broadcast. And I have them connected so I can bring them in and share them. So if you give me one moment here, this is now starting to make a little more sense. So let me move this over here. Are you able to see my screen with the MicroGen loading at the moment? Great, great, thank you. Software downloaded on my older laptop. New one couldn't do it. Yeah, a new one could. I don't know why it wouldn't. But I have several older laptops that I use. I have one for my Scholar unit, one for Plasma, and one for all the other spooky equipment. So is this going to make a liar out of me? It looks like it started to load and then didn't load. How annoying. There, oh, it's loading the encyclopedia. That often fools me. This happens with Spooky also. That encyclopedia takes a pause before it starts to load, and then it pops in. It's not a long load though. It's not long. So yeah, I use different equipment to run different things. And one of the things that I've noticed is I can run this with Windows 7 without a problem. I also run it on Windows 10. I'm kind of wondering about Windows 11. I avoided it actually. I probably will have it on one machine or another and will mess with it there. What is non-human DNA that loads up? That would be animal DNA. You know, that's my sense of it. So this is the software. This is the software. And you can search all kinds of things, right? You can search all kinds of things. One of the things that you will see here is that these asterisks appear by the different programs that are available specifically for the MicroGen. Alien as well. I like that, Kara Gray. Okay. Porpoise. You know, England has declared what is it? Lobsters and octopi and squid as sentient. So, you know, are they alien beings? Possibly. They just live in the sea. We all look to space for aliens, but you know, we've got a big ocean right there. Anyway, so if you had a cold, for instance, and you just type that in, right? It gives you a lot of options, right? It gives you a lot of options. So this is really telling you you have possibilities here that you could certainly use, right? Notice this one, for instance, is not one that was designed for spooky. Does that make it less effective? No, not necessarily, right? Could you run a bunch of these? Yeah, but you kind of want to keep your runtime, from what my understanding is. Yeah, you do, Dr. Danielle, and I will show you in just a moment. Let's say that we wanted to pick these. So I just held down my shift and selected those. And I'm clicking over here. I'm looking at a runtime that's 4 hours and 30 minutes. I'm going, no, too long. I don't want to run it that long. Couple hours seems to be a good idea, but some people would run it this long. I would be one of those people because I'm an experimenter. That's what I do. I check stuff out. Sometimes my experiments lead me to unpleasant experiences, but that doesn't make me stop. It makes me understand what I did. Nobody, not anybody in this group is going to do the kinds of things I do. I tend to push the limits, and so I'm not worried about you, right? But could you run this? Yeah, you could run this. So 4 hours and 30 minutes, could you run it in a loop or as a single run? Yes. When you go to this button right here and click it, it switches, right? It switches, right? So if I were to make this run right now, right, it would run one time. It would run 4 hours and 30 minutes and quit. If I did this and selected, this would be high power, and selected high power, it would run 4 hours and 30 minutes, and then it would do it again, and then it would do it again, and we keep doing that. Jacqueline is mentioning this. I've been using self-muscle testing for what are the best programs for COVID versus cold. You know what? A cold and COVID are not the same thing. So you would certainly want to be thoughtful about such things. And you know, this seems to be, you know, an area of dispute, and I'm not here to make recommendations or to tell anybody what they should do. I can only tell you what I do. I use all modalities. I use Western, Eastern, nutrition, acupuncture, anything that works, that I have knowledge of that works, I put it to use, right? So that means I'm a fully vaxxed person. Does that mean that I do not run COVID frequencies on myself? Absolutely not. I run them, right? I want every level of protection that I can get. I've had no significant side effects of any kind, so there's that. It's what it is. But you can search for and find all kinds of things. And muscle testing is perhaps a very good way to determine what it is you need if you're just using the MicroGen. So let's make this run, right? I want to see how this runs. Now, notice that I've got this thing set up. My picture is over here to me, but I'm talking to you here. So it has to be plugged in, right? It's now plugged in. And watch what happens when I tell this that I want to run it with the high power. Watch what happens. It's going to search to see that I have the MicroGen plugged in and on. Right? That's the message I get right there. These programs are now running in high power mode on this. So I can disconnect it. They continue to run. I would plug it in, right? I would attach my TENS pads and I would put it on myself. On the wrist are probably a very good way to communicate those frequencies. Yeah, it is quick and easy. It's true. You know, the thing about this is in our heads, I think we tend to complicate what these things need to be. And they're just not, you know, they're just not complicated. And this thing will run until I turn it off or the battery runs out or I get tired of running it or my cold goes away, right? I just can't say enough about doing this in a way that serves your logic, right? Whatever your logic is, go with that. And so if you do muscle testing, great. If you use what is it, a pendulum, right, to check out what you need. Some people print this thing out and figure with the pendulum what works for them. There are other ways to do this in Spooky. There are systems for figuring out what you need, grade scanning, but this is sort of the very simple embodiment of that that is just obviously pretty simple to run. So your frequency duration, if you change this, right, and I'm pretty sure you can, I haven't tried, but if I put 90 seconds, that would run for 2 minutes, right? That's wrong. Just made a liar out of myself. If I put 120 in there, it would run for 2 minutes. If I put 60 in there, they would, and now I would have to load these again, right, and start it again. But this is the frequency each time that it's running. So you're reducing the time the frequency is running on you. Do you want to do that since the default is 180? That's the reason I never tried doing that, because I kind of depend on that default, thinking probably a good idea. That's the recommendation, right? What else? So yeah, this thing's just happily running. If I had a cold, I would be running it on myself and working on curing the cold. One of the things about cold cures is they tend to work pretty quickly. I find that interesting. And there's simple things here that you might not even think about as you search this. Notice this search is just cold, right? What were the let me pull out of here again. I know I gave this recommendation of what to search. This is me, FSM, right? So let me bring that back in. So when you do that, everything that comes up was designed specifically for the MicroGen. By the way, you can erase whatever you put into the device before by just clicking the trash can, right? How often do we update the firmware? I look at it once in a while. I don't find that I necessarily need to do that too much. Every once in a while, I check it out. And if I feel in need of updating it, I do it. Seconds time FX is equal 1 time. I want to decrease time for clients. They don't have 4 hours. And yes, they got rid of a sore throat pretty much instantly. Yeah, these things work fast, right? The things that work fast are startlingly fast. And it's different than taking a cold remedy, for instance, where you suddenly go, oh, I can breathe again. No, this actually makes the cold go away. And it does it in a way where you feel like you never had one. I see somebody has questions in the Q&A. Okay. You can ask them now, Wendy. You can ask those right here in the chat window. I will do my best to answer anything. Had a gallstone pain go away in minutes. Yeah, this is powerful. This is powerful, and I really encourage everybody, do not think of this as a toy. I have made that mistake, not thinking, not realizing that it was as powerful as it was, especially when I first got started. I did things people should not do. And, I paid a certain price for it, but it was, it was worth it to me to find out. So I don't perpetuate ideas that aren't so, and I don't encourage people to do things that they probably should not do. Can you explain the Zapper mode? What do you use it for? And where do you place the TENS pads? Well, the Zapper is a device that was created by a woman named Hulda Clark. And you can look up information about her on the web. Very interesting person. Let me see here. Yeah, just search her name. You'll see all kinds of information about products and different things, and and people that say, no, this doesn't work, this is a bunch of bull. Well, I would challenge those people that say that to try it. And there are other products. Obviously, you're going to find these things when you search for people like Dr. Clark. This whole thing, no matter what you post, no matter what you say, no matter what device is out there, there are always going to be people that are going to tell you that it doesn't work, right? So, but are they using it is always my question. And the answer generally turns out to be, well, no, I would never try a thing like that. Well, then how, I ask, can they make any kind of proclamation about it? And they will tell me, well, the science doesn't add up. Well, yeah. I don't, I'm a firm believer in science, and I believe in replication. If somebody does something and they say this works and I try it and it doesn't work, well, I've just used the scientific method to show, at least for me, that it doesn't work. But at the same time, empirical evidence of our own that we build for ourselves is much more powerful to me, right? When I try something and I get what works, it does. So as you can see, there are tons and tons of things. What do they say? 30,000 different things there. Yeah. So, you can use them all, and you just figure out how you want to use them. What else? Let me see. I'm cruising back up through the questions here. I see some people have answered other people's questions. I appreciate that. How do you put your biofeedback scan from Spooky 2 into the MicroGen? Yeah. This is something that I had to work on, and I used a secondary piece of software. I wish, here's the thing, and again, without making excuses, my expectation was that I was doing this tomorrow night. Unfortunately, I'm doing it now, which means that I don't have everything up and running that I would expect to. So let me see if I can find what I used to do that. That's a database editor. No. I used a secondary piece of software that I got from the MicroGen site. And the directions are very clear. You just load things in there and you can transfer them over. It was pretty direct. And I'm sorry, I cannot bring that up right now. I just don't have it handy. 2 questions, prostate area pain. Where would you put the pads? Well, I would guess front and back, right? You want to encompass that area. So maybe on the lower belly and lower back, you're wanting to get to that area. Sinus pain and cold again. Where would you put the pads? This is from Paul. For something like that, you probably would want to use low power, but you could probably put those pads on your cheeks. That might be a good placement. Again, I have not done that, so I would check it out, you know. Low power is microcurrent frequency, and you select programs. High power is right frequency, and you select programs. Yeah, you're selecting the programs that are going to work for you. So let's say we have searching for acne. Now, there are a lot of things here that were designed for microfrequency, right? But this is very likely a spooky frequency. And what you would do is you would put that in, and if I have this connected, now notice I erased the other things that were in here. When I plugged it in, they're not automatically erased until I do this. Well, let's say I'm running it twice, or I'll just disappear one of those. Let's say I want one of these and one of these, and that's 52 minutes, run it in a loop, say high power. It's going to search for the generator, which I just plugged in again. And now those are loaded, right? So those are spooky frequencies being loaded into this, right? As opposed to the frequencies that were designed specifically for this device. Is one more powerful than the other? Not necessarily. It's what works for you that's going to be important. Can you please answer the first question, part of J.E.'s question? MicroGen importer, hold on. I'm trying to look for what that is. J.E.'s question. Yeah, your time is different from mine, by the way. So let me look up here, 2:49. I'm not seeing one that's corresponding. 2:49. Hold on, I'm looking. I'm sorry, I'm not seeing a specific. Yeah, J.E. did not ask questions. Those are statements, as far as I can tell. That's Jacqueline. Yeah, so I don't feel the need to answer those as questions. MicroGen importer, yeah, it's pretty easy to find. Uterine prolapse program worked well. That's interesting. That can be a problem. One last question. I downloaded a program to run for COVID from the forum. I'm not very computer literate. How do you copy that to Spooky 2 and ultimately to MicroGen? Again, that's the MicroGen importer, and you will need to load that. You'll need to download it and copy it. Once you do that, you can transfer things over. I have done it. Obviously, I think when I first brought this up, something I transferred over was in here, but I don't have it handy at the moment. Thank you so much. I have MECFS. Bless you. Good. I hope this is helpful to you. Yeah. Okay. Oh, so decreasing runtime to decrease the time for clients. Well, what you're doing by decreasing that, I mean, you want to remember is each time the frequency is running. So let's say it's running for 3 minutes. It's a positive 3 minutes that it's running. It's consistent for 3 minutes. It's attacking or going after healing. What is it? Whatever it is you're after. So when you're doing that, you're giving it the allotted default time. So if you reduce that time for clients Are they getting the full benefit? I don't actually know the answer to that. That would take experimentation. Are there other times when you reduce the duration? Yeah, I use it for other things in Spooky, but I've not done that in MicroGen. And when you have clients, it may be, and this is a potential thing to I hate to say this, to get an additional MicroGen that you can perhaps loan or charge your clients to use for a given period of time. And you know, when I do things like that, I do it a little bit differently, but I make sure that I guarantee everything. So I actually have it written that if what I'm doing doesn't work, they can have their money back. I have yet to have a client ask for their money back, ever. So, you know, that's a pretty powerful statement, but I make sure that they know that if I'm not successful in doing it, I don't deserve to get paid. So this is something you would want to balance for yourself. And, you know, do what you do. So less programs are better than. Yeah, I would say that. I would say running fewer programs to get the full benefit and then doing more. You know, it doesn't mean that because, you know, like we run these 3 programs here, it doesn't mean because we run these 3 that we can't run others later, right? You know, maybe we want to work with these. You know, I don't know everything about these things. Maybe we want to run acne 1 and 2, right? I don't know. So people are posting links here. Oh, that's great. Carrie posted the importer link. I absolutely encourage you to download that since there's so many questions. If you have spooky equipment and you want to transport into the MicroGen, that's the tool you need. So if you're watching this chat, definitely go to that. That's this page right here, right? You want to grab that, absolutely grab that, right? It says SYS not secure, but it's where I got it from. I didn't run into that. Sometimes, you know, I see things that are, yeah, you'll be able to get a download copy of this, or at least a streaming copy. It's being recorded. So yeah, I've seen things that come in from these different sites that says that it's not secure. I have never had a problem with Spooky or MicroGen software. I've never had anything that was problematic in any way to my computers. 2 clients have had sleep programs, both reported great ever since. And also someone with fibromyalgia. Fibromyalgia has slept the best for years. That's fantastic. I wouldn't mind knowing what those sleep programs are. If you feel like passing them to me, you're welcome to do that. Here, I will pass my, just my email to you. You can send anything to me that you like or ask questions. I do answer questions of people and, you know, like that. But I think that the more you experiment and try things out, the more you will convince yourself. And for all of the things that people have reported here, it's encouraging to see it. It's you know, it's one of those things, we want to believe this stuff, or we don't want to believe this stuff, whatever way we come at it. The whole thing is if you don't try it out, you can't know. And I do I do want you to try it. I do want you to experiment. I do want you to prove it to yourself. And I don't want you to take anybody's word for it. You know, don't take my word for it. I've had success. Don't take my word for that. Test it. You know, that's the most important thing. So thank you so much for posting the import tool location. That's very important. You certainly want to have it. Carrie also posted another thing here. Let's see what that is.
Grammarly does more.
Oh, wow, that's loud. And I don't want to know about Grammarly. Using the importer. So this is how to use the importer. So that's great, right? You got these two links. I so very encourage you to copy them both and make use of them. This one will show you after a Grammarly commercial how to use the tool. And this one here is the tool itself that you will be able to download. Very valuable. I appreciate you having posted those. Just been diagnosed with diabetes. Any recommendations for programs? I actually don't specifically make recommendations, but I really encourage you to look through the different possibilities. And I mean, it's as simple as searching, right? Suddenly you have all these possibilities, right? And it's not, you know, it's not limited. And your diagnosis may be specific to you. Your doctor has advised you, this is what's going on with you. And you'll be able to pick something that is specific to you, along with, you know, things like tertiary and secondary, and other possibilities that are less specific, right? Really, part of this is using your senses, you know, and that's a weird thing to say for somebody who's into science, but yeah, part of this is using your senses. My background, a lot of it is in art, right? And art is this combination of using your intuition and the tools that you have available to you to create something new. And that's what you're doing, only in this case, you're doing it with your body. And I can't think of a better art form than that. Yes, Carrie is posting great information here. Go to the forums, there's lots of info there. Go to, you know, the spooky or the Facebook forums, they're terrific. Well, this forum, the spooky2.com forums, this is something different where I have an account there, right? And I log into these things all the time, right? I log into them all the time. When I want new information, when I want to have something, when I want to ask questions, that's great. So you definitely want to sign up for the forums, and it gives you an opportunity to look, and it's outside of Facebook. So you can talk about things there that you really cannot talk about on Facebook. And I think really Facebook is annoying, but it's also protecting itself. And can we blame them? You know, so yeah, trained in touch for health kinesiology. That's great. That's great. You're going to be pleased with what you discover through what you already know, and then relating it to a physical device that can deliver in a way that, man, you know, it's a powerful experience. Chris just said, received Gen X Spooky and have not even unwrapped it. This looks easier. Yeah, this is easier. The Gen X is a whole other deal and worth getting into. So don't lose hope on that. I want you to know that I started with a Gen X and 3 XM. I now have 4 Gen X and about 17 XM units. Plus I have the MicroGen. So the reason that happens is because of success. It's like, as I have success, I want more. And when I want more, that enables me to work with more people and do more good. And the more that happens, it's, I continue to look to expand my collection of machines. It just happens that way. Does it mean that I'll ultimately reach an endpoint and say I can't take it anymore? I doubt it, but my progress is what it is, and it's mine, and it's my path. So it's what I do. Putting pads on meridians for ailments is a good idea. Yeah, I believe that. Be careful of your heart. You don't want to place the pads directly on your heart, right? Close to the meridian is okay. And remember that meridian is a line, right? So along the spine, great, right? So yeah, I see no. What is the no? Oh, you were agreeing with me. I know what you're doing. I get it now. Yeah, not on the heart. Yeah, that's a thing. We want to be thoughtful about what we're doing. And again, that's that whole idea of this is a tool, it's not a toy. Okay. So, do I have any more to express about this? Let's see what I'm sharing here. Let me get back to that. So I'm back to that. That's me looking back up, and there's the darn thing that we couldn't hear. I apologize. Let me do this.
Dr. Gundry.
Do they have to yell at me on YouTube? Is that really necessary? Well, all I'm doing here is grabbing that link. Type of message, there we go. There's a link to that YouTube video. Now I can't see my own share there. Okay. There it goes. So there it is. So we're finally at the Q&A. What port do I choose for the firmware? Well, that's going to load right through your MicroGen. It's connected. You're going to be able to load it through that. See, it really is. It's simpler than we want to have it, right? It's like our sense of the way things should work. It makes us want to see everything as more complicated than it needs to be. And this one just isn't. This is right on simple. So the floor is open to any further questions. I will answer anything to the best of my ability if I haven't answered it already. Otherwise, we will close this down, and I appreciate your being here. I'm sorry for the confusion we ended up with. That just came from some confusion over the timing. I was looking for tomorrow night at 7, and Penny Yu, who I love very much, and I think is one of the wisest people around, got the day confused and wrote to me at about 5 minutes to 7 tonight and said, well, here we go. I was like, what? But what the heck? Great, you ordered a unit. You should look forward to it. it will be a blessing in your life. It's great. Mercury in retrograde, that explains a lot to me. It never fails. 417 in Oxford, England. I'm appreciative of you stopping by in the afternoon. There are people here from everywhere. AM, oh my gosh, 4:17 AM. You got up early to watch this. 11:20 PM, Ontario, Canada. Wow, wow. This was correlating to 8 something in China. You know, I think, you know, it's a difficult thing sometimes to work in the world, you know. Oh, now I got you for 3 minutes there, Carrie. You lied to me by 3 minutes. It's only 11:17. All right. Okay, any other questions? Like I said, you feel free to write to me. I will answer you. When did this product come out? I feel like a couple of years ago. Could it be that long? Not very long ago. Not very long ago. Came out with a bang though. It was kind of unexpected. But then Spooky and these people seem to do things that are unexpected. April 2021, a year ago. So see, I was wrong. That was the first time ever though. So yeah, the things that come out of this, you know, when I think of the things that I use that come out of this company that are astonishing, one of the things that actually kept me away was I thought, oh, they keep coming out with more and more things that I'm going to want. Well, I was right about that. But the problem is I want them because they work. So goes to show you, if they didn't work, I wouldn't. Their products are all great. I agree. I agree. They are great. New set of cables with an LED on. It's very possible that I sent those cables. No, I sent cables to people in the United States. They were sent here to me and I passed them out. I thought that was an amazing display of integrity when they did that. I was just astonished. I've never heard of a company doing such a thing. They created a product and they thought it was perfect and it wasn't, so they fixed it and made sure everybody was made happy by that fix. Oh my gosh. More health technology on the way. I'm always watching for it. Always, always. Bought everything within a year. Yeah, I know how you feel. A med bed for reflexology. I don't know. I keep hearing things about a med bed. I haven't seen it yet. At least in the way that it's being talked about. I have not yet seen that. But sure, I would like to see a thing like that. Anybody else? It looks like no. 9.10 quantum med bed. Hello. Quantum. Yeah, that would be using flex beam on my chest. See, now you're talking about things that I don't know about. So if you want to write to me and share that, you're welcome. Or are you making that up? I don't know. Yeah, I'm interested in all kinds of things. And again, you know, I've tested a lot of things. Somehow I get things from some of them and I get nothing from other. Plasma beds, these are exciting times. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. But remember, you know, Western doctors have a great track record of diagnosis. You know, when we look at all these diseases in these lists and we look up things, you have diabetes, you have, you know, whatever, that came from Western medicine. My email again is john at rifework.com. Right there. You're always welcome to write to me. I generally will answer. I won't answer right away, but I generally will answer, and I do try to be helpful. Strangely, people have written to me with bizarre ideas that I just kind of go, well, there's one in every crowd, but I hope there's nobody in this crowd that's doing that. I don't think there are. Thank you. Thank you. I really try. I really try. All right, guys. I'm going to call it an evening, and I hope your day is excellent. And I met some people today who are going to a wedding, and they said, well, what are we going to do there? It's not our wedding. And I suggested to them that they dance like it was their wedding. So that's my advice to you. Dance like it's your wedding. All right. Good night. I was just checking out the final things in the Q&A and discovered that I did answer them all. Good night.